Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Running It Back. My name is MissHarvey, and I'm joined with Jamerson as usual. Super excited to be here back today on GiantSlayerTV because we have lots of things to talk to you about Valorant. Jamerson, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, and yeah, we do have a lot to talk about. I thought we wouldn't just because of how the events have slowed down, but there's still been a lot of news surrounding Valorant over the last 2 weeks, so I'm really excited for this week's show.
Really excited as well because we're not alone. There's only 2 cameras here, but we have a very special guest. Our first women guest. It's also our second guest. Our first women guest. Welcome, Alexis.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just chilling after that tournament. How are you guys doing?
Great as well. You mentioned real quick a tournament, and I want to jump in right after about it. But before that, Alexis, there's a lot of people who are new to this podcast. They might not know who I am. They might not know who Jamerson is. But all we care about today is you. You're the star of today's episode. Can you let us know a little bit about yourself for those who don't know anything about you?
So my name's Alexis. I play for Team MAJKL, which is a professional female Valorant team. I used to play competitive Counter-Strike for about 5 or 6 years. Female teams, co-ed teams, etc. Just sort of playing an ESEA Open, I am main. But now I switched to Valorant, and I'm on the best female Valorant team in the world. So that's me.
Let's go. Jamerson, how does that make you feel when she says that?
No, that's super awesome. I mean, again, I got my start, right, doing Counter-Strike over at Esports Arena. I don't remember if you remember, MissHarvey, but when you guys would show up every Sunday like that, yeah, it was old CLG Red. It was you, Kath, Diane, Benita, and Potter, right? I believe that was the roster that you guys were playing with back 3-4 years ago. It was a while ago. And so I was a huge fan of you guys. Of course, I love seeing more women in esports and seeing more opportunity for women in esports. And so seeing the FTW tournament was super awesome, especially when it's fielded with a 50K prize pool.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump right into it. There's a couple of things that happened last week, but let's talk about that event. The FTW Summer Showdown happened. Alexis, you and I played in it.
Yep.
You finished. Top 2. Yeah, you won it, and I was part of the team that finished second. So let's go us. But we need to talk about the whole thing. First of all, it was an Inactions back series. It was supposed to be a way smaller event. Like the first time I got introduced to that event, it was supposed to be a 5K event, and then like 2 days before the event, we learned that it's a 50K.
Yep.
Jamerson, first of all, were you surprised when you saw that Inaction and Riot wanted to back a women event?
I mean, I'm not surprised that they want to back it, but like the timing of it was really awkward because I felt like it could have come a little bit earlier to put more eyes on it instead of 3 or 4 days before the actual event happened to be like, oh, hey, it's an Ignition series. Every other Ignition series was announced maybe at least 2 weeks out. And so the timing was just odd. I don't find it odd that Riot did it. It's just the timing of it at all. Okay.
I wondered if they didn't want any backfire of like supporting an event like that. Alexis, they announced like so last minute.
It was literally like 2 days before.
They knew that they wanted to support it at least a week before. So I wonder what happened behind the scene. I wonder if they were trying to dodge like.
They were probably looking for like the right way to announce it to avoid any sort of backlash about it, which is probably why they took a little bit. But
did you like one of the producers on Valorant? Her name is Anna. Did you guys watch her video?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we really loved it. We all replied to her tweet saying like, "Thank you so much for everything you're doing for women."
She is the sweetest. Jamerson, were you able to watch a couple of games?
No, I only watched the grand finals there, and so watched YouTube face off there in the end. Unfortunately, I had a lot of other things that I had to do, but it was still really cool. And I think one of the greatest things I liked about the event was that even though they had like Golden Boy and Riv, is that they had who was it, Nauri and Moxie doing the final grand finals as the cast. Even though you've got these world-class talent that everyone knows, they were like, let's go ahead and stick true to what this event is. Let's empower women. Let's go ahead and give them as the casting duo the grand final. And they fucking knocked it out of the park. They did a great job. And so I'm glad that they had that opportunity to be able to cast it as well as show off the female Valorant kind of skills. And it was just a great tournament.
I also noticed that. I thought that was really cool. Alexis, let's talk a bit about the event. You played in it. You're the winner. Like, how did it feel for you and your team throughout the event?
It felt insane. So we were all so nervous because we had been practicing so much, probably 6 hours a day before the tournament to like prepare for it. And during our first map, we won pistol round, I think. And all of our confidence just came back and we just glided on that for the rest of the tournament. It was like insane. Our comms were on point. Our aim was on point. Everything was on point for the whole tournament. It was crazy.
That's how
I mean,
it
it looked like
That's
it. I was looking at some of the stats just from like the group stages alone. You guys had a 71 round differential. You guys dropped 20 rounds in group stages. I know it was a best of one through those matches, but that's actually kind of absurd.
Yeah, we didn't drop a single map the entire tournament, so that was kind of crazy.
I mean, excuse me, rounds, yeah. Round differentials.
I really wanted to at least bring you guys into overtime on bind. I think we honestly kind of choked there. There were so many situations of like 1v2s or 1 versus 1. So should have, I would say, most likely went in our favor. And you guys pulled out amazing clutches. And it felt really good, but it felt really bad on our side, but it must have felt really good on yours. Was it one of the first time that you felt as confident on a team? If you
Oh,
do feel
100%.
confident. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. We're really confident. And honestly, that last map, like you said, every round felt like somebody was clutching. Every single round. And it was so like the energy was so high and our nerves were so high that it was really intense, the last map for sure.
There was another event that weekend. Actually, we couldn't start the female tournament. Inside of things, Jamerson. The reason why the female FTW event was so late was because we had to go live after the European one was over. So every day when they were over, that's when we could start. So the European one was live. I personally had absolutely no time to check it out because I was so nervous about my own tournaments. I was in deathmatch and like just focusing on my things. Were any of you guys able to check it out?
I'll be honest, no. I haven't even been able to catch up on the VODs on it, and so I kind of feel bad about that. But it was honestly still, like we talked about last time on the last show, it's just weird, right? It's a 14 invitational for a lot of money. And then the way that the tournament was spaced out, it was basically only 2 matches played on stream, right, over the course of 4 or 5 days. And so it just still felt like a weird one. So I still want to do it justice. I want to watch the VODs, but I don't know. I want to see something where there's we're able to scout out more talent instead of just having 4 invited teams. Like, we need to see more out of EU, and that's not the right way to use the Ignition Series platform to do that.
Yeah, it was a really, really small tournament, and I also didn't get to watch it. I just know G2 like wiped the floor with everybody, but yeah, it's kind of weird that there was only 4 teams.
Do you follow the European scene at all?
I sometimes watch their games just because EU Valorant seems to be a lot different in terms of like strategies and things like that we can kind of take a lot from them and apply it to NA. That's usually what I'll go and watch for, and just to like see what shots they're running, stuff like that.
You just made me think about a question I need to ask you. Like, how does your team work on strategy? Do you have external help? Do you guys make your own strategies? Yeah, what's your current process for MAJKL?
It's usually just watching VODs. Mel usually makes a lot of her own strats. She's our captain. Besides that, we don't really have a coach. Stronglegs came and helped us for the tournament, but that was pretty much it. We haven't really had like a set coach at all throughout the couple months we've been a team.
Okay. So just from experience, but I know you guys are all young players and you all learning at the same time. So it's been great to have you guys involved. I do believe that Jamerson, I just realized, might be frozen. So we're just gonna accept that fact. I thought he was just very focused on it, but it looks like he might be frozen. So you and I will just keep chatting.
Okay.
Before we, I didn't even notice either. I'm reading chat right now. Your teammate Mel is in there. She's always ready to support her colleagues and her teammates and friends. Yeah, I didn't notice either until I actually focused on it. So we might have lost Jamerson for good. But let's talk about. I don't know if you saw, but this morning Valorant announced a little bit of a teaser on the first strike.
Oh yeah.
What were your thoughts from it? Oh, first of all, maybe we could summarize what the first strike was. Were you able to watch the full video?
Yeah, it seemed like they didn't reveal much information besides it would be like a longer run sort of tournament, maybe kind of like a league even, and just some like observing tools is what I got from that video.
Yeah, I'm excited because new OBS tools, also potentially new observing tools. So that's going to be great because it's something that the community is kind of in COVID times. I know you guys can't see me. Hold on. All right. So I know the community is kind of starving.
Just stay like that. Just stay like that.
Okay, perfect. I know the community is kind of starving for online events because of COVID and because of the fact we can't travel. So it's actually hilarious to me right now. I'm cracking up. I hope, Mel, you're enjoying this moment in chat. But So to see that they're gonna invest into that is really great. They also mentioned something. I don't know if it. Oh, there it is. You're
Oh,
not
I'm
Jamerson
Jamerson
today.
now. Let's go.
There's something that they mentioned is that they are gonna implement potentially round reset tools and potentially even match medic, something that we know about in CS during the Induction Series event that we played in. Um, I don't know if it was versus you. No, it was versus CLG Red. There was a problem that happened with Christine, or a game crashed, and we had to redo the whole like map, like dropping weapons and killing each
Yeah.
other and gathering orbs, and that took like an hour. It was such a disaster. So I wonder if they looked at that moment, Alexis, and they were just like, "That can't happen again."
Yeah, we
We
gotta fix this. Yeah, because if you don't like, if you hit disconnect and you don't just like Alt F4 or disconnect because you lag out, like you have to just redo the whole thing because you can't reconnect to a custom lobby is the thing.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't know. We thought that if you just left and rebooted.
No, you have to like literally Alt F4 or like turn your internet off. Like you can't click disconnect because it won't let you back in the game if it's a custom lobby. It's so weird.
Oh, okay. I see what we did wrong. And you're now Jamerson V2. I like it a lot. Thank you, production. You're doing great.
Thank you so much.
While he tries to reconnect, apparently his internet dropped. I have a couple questions for you. What's in the pipeline for MAJKL after this Induction Series? Like, what are you guys looking for?
In terms of what exactly?
So, knowing that there's no Valorant League, so it's not like ESEA, we're just getting ready for another season. Knowing that potentially, right now the tournaments in the Ancient Series were on break before the first strike announcements day. Like, what are you guys practicing for? What are you guys looking forward to as a team?
Right now, I mean, our main goal, altogether, not even just right now, is to be able to compete against Tier 1 teams. So we're continuing to scrim against Tier 1 teams, Tier 2 teams, just make our strategies as good as possible in order to play in those tournaments when they do pop up again and win. So
Yay! And how easy is that? Because what I'm thinking is that for us, for example, it was pretty hard to find scrims, and also to just practice. Like this 5-man queue was taking forever when we didn't have scrims. It was quite a challenge to accomplish practices. Are you guys having better success, or do you guys have to plan everything, or else you guys can't play?
yeah, we usually plan our, or not us, but Mel will plan our scrims in advance. So we know for sure if we have scrims certain days. If we don't, we'll just go in a server for the time that we would usually scrim. Like we never just like cancel practice because we don't have scrims. We'll do something else that's productive.
Okay, so I like to hear that. Okay, you know what? We can change topic, even if without Jamerson, we can do this show.
Yeah,
Alexis,
of course.
let's switch to another type of news, the roster changes. There was a couple announcements since our last episode, so I kind of want to talk about it with you. First of all, there was T1 kind of dropping food, and T1 dropping food and Crashy, and then Envy signed them.
Yeah.
Like right away without hesitation. What do you think about that transfer?
I think it's pretty smart. Crashies and Food are really insane players. I'm not sure what, maybe something happened like internally with Calypso and Akis, but Crashies and Food are insane.
They are insane, and they were pretty happy to be announcing that they're still there. And you know what? Sorry about that. I jumped the topics. That's why the image is kind of off. Jamerson, sad face, me jumping topic. This is one of those days, guys. One of those days. But I need to talk about, I wonder what happened with Calypso and Akis too. I know that Calypso, I heard rumors he might be involved into the match fixing and MDL. If that's true or not, I have actually no idea, no behind the scene. All I know is like he was name dropped in a couple of potential people that were part of that. Does that mean Envy just wanted to avoid drama, benched him for now, or does that mean that he's gone for good? Who knows? I actually didn't really do any investigating thing, but I know that Calypso was actually doing so much work on Envy, so I'm glad that they were able to find someone as solid as Crashies and Food. to help. Okay, but I'm gonna talk about the image that you see right now to break that awkward moment. So Energy CEO founder Andy Miller said that he wants that he thinks that Valorant is too young to invest in. Coming from CLG, I have to say that we also don't have a Valorant team at the moment, and I do believe that I cannot disclose all of the secrets of what's going on between Riot and their teams. But anyone that has a LCS franchise is in talk with Riot about what's going on with the Riot scene. So what I'm gonna say is, I think that Andy Miller is right. Does that mean that teams shouldn't gamble and pick up Valorant teams and kind of have fun with it? I think they can. But I think they all know that like a lot of it is going to be kind of money. Potentially, though, a lot of risk, very little return. What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also think that like when you go on Wikipedia and you go on Valorant, like there's already teams that have $100,000 worth of earnings, right? So these tournaments have already gotten really large. Even the female tournament, like 50K, that's a lot for a female tournament. If you look at like CS tournaments, Valorant tournaments, that's like a lot of money. I think it's worth investing, especially just like if you look at viewer counts on streams of these tournaments, like it's insane. It's gonna be comparable to CS soon. I definitely think it's worth investing though, for sure.
Yeah, like I was mentioning, it's a risk reward thing. You might invest a lot now, but it might be a lot less than if you wait. And I think a lot of these teams that have deeper pockets, let me just say that, are taking that risk, whatever that means. And teams that are just more conservative, like right now we can see potentially Energy, CLG, even I don't think EG has a Valorant team, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, so they're more like, hey, we like it. We might even do tournaments like we were doing with CLG, but we'll wait to like invest like potentially $500,000 into that game. So that's very interesting for an owner to come out and talk about it. Okay. There's also team complexity is having a little bit of shakedown. They bench sorry, and Frisco. Have you followed a little bit what's going on in the tier 2, tier 3 scenes? Because you say you play some of those teams sometimes.
I followed Complexity for a little bit because I have a lot of friends on this team, Com and Ohai and AGM being my friends. And I was actually really shocked when they dropped Com because he's a really good player. So I'm curious to see who they decide to pick up.
I'm also very curious that it makes very little sense to me to be dropping these two and keep the rest. Like maybe I'm not involved enough. Maybe there's clearly a problem on that team that they needed to be replaced. But it's not like I think that XP3 or AGM are necessarily like untouchable either. So I'm wondering what caused that to happen. But
especially,
it's great. Go ahead.
Especially because their roster has only been together for not even 2 months. Like it's been like very little time.
Yeah, so it might be internal issues. It might just be like it's like it's not working out. But it's definitely fun to see a little bit of movements, but at the same time, I'm like you. I'm like, hey, like give them time some break. Give that team some break. It's a little bit of what happened for me with the 102 roster in Hiko. It was like, hey, let's create a roster, let's announce it, let's make a big deal out of it, and then 3 weeks later, hey, let's cut all of the players except Hiko. Like, wait, what?
Exactly. Yeah, you got to give them more time to grow as a team.
Exactly. Okay, and then on the roster, one last thing that happened, poised off of Dignitas roster, and Shanks as well. So I feel that Dignitas just was really successful with their roster.
Yeah, they were. I don't think they I don't think they did it because of the fact that they're untalented players, right?
Yeah, it might have been exactly the same thing as we just talked about on complexity. Like
Mhm.
this roster was kind of signed up because they were the next best thing. They also upset. I do believe it was either Sentinels or TSM or even both.
Yeah, they were upsetting a lot of teams actually. Yeah,
And then
I think it was TSM.
they get signed up, and then they have to change 2 players. Oh, Jamerson! Ooh, and this time I have to go on this side. Jamerson, we cannot hear you.
There we go.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Yep.
I'm sure that the cameras will be fixed very soon. We're just talking about roster updates. Alexis and I have been having fun talking about what's going on. So we covered a little bit of everything. But you know what? Now that you're back, let's change discussion so you can get involved. So first of all, your internet crash or something? You lost completely everything?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like my ISP, I think it's I checked the down detector and like everything in my area is just basically down. So it's just an ISP problem. So I'm just on my phone right now. So hopefully you guys can deal with the shaky camera. But I mean, I'd like to, you know, the roster discussion seems kind of fun. Where'd you guys leave off?
We're just talking about how I personally don't understand the Dignitas 2-player drop. And Alexis and I are kind of creating some drama. We think that within the complexity roster as well as the Dignitas roster is potentially some drama because we don't really think it's performance based. It's like especially after doing so good with Dignitas, it doesn't really make sense to drop 2 players right away.
Yeah, I mean, that's the surprising thing, right? And I don't know if you guys talked about the NRG thing yet, about what Andy Miller had to say about investing into the esport right now. Is I think a lot of people were kind of expecting, especially on the onset of the esport, that early on there's going to be a lot of roster swaps, and like now's kind of the time to do it, especially with the timing for what Riot just announced. Right, they're doing bigger things. They're going to have a big tournament, in October, I believe. And so I think the timing for it might be something to consider. But a lot of these roster swaps, I mean, from what we saw with T1 and other orgs, definitely, I would agree that there has to also be something personal going on as well, right? About making sure you have that team chemistry.
Yeah, they can't all be like MAJKL, right, Alexis?
Of course, no one can.
Okay, let's jump into a fresh set of news. Let's talk about patch notes. Have you had the chance, Alexis, to play the recent patch notes? And I'm gonna cut you right away. Did you play with the Guardian?
Like 1 time. I hate it. I hate it still.
So the Guardian,
it's kind of doo-doo.
The Guardian got a buff. His price was reduced by $100, and his fire rate got improved, and his weapon recovery as well. I love the Guardian, but there's never a right time to buy it. I feel it's always a little bit too expensive, and instead I should just buy a Spectre. You know, if I'm actually saving, and if I want to buy, then I'll just buy a Phantom. Right? So I don't think for me the 100 price change. I actually think it should be even lower. For me, for the Guardian to be effective, I would put it like 2.1 or even 2K.
Just a little bit more than the Spectre, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely getting closer to a state. I mean, it started off as 27, right, during its launch, and so now coming down to 24. But I would definitely like to see it come down a little bit more. It's very niche, right? It's kind of like it comes down to when you just barely don't have enough for utility, and maybe you want to do it. But like you said, just go with the SMGs instead, or go with like a Bulldog. Like, as a DMR, I liked using it. It felt good. The rate of fire, even though it's a small difference. When you take a look at the other guns that are like at 9.25 rounds per second and stuff like that, it's now 5.25 or something like that. It doesn't feel as good as you would a lot of people would expect, but I think it's starting to come into its own, and I would like to see another reduction, maybe 200 or so.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And another big update that happened was the Raze stuff. Alexis, is Agni the only Raze in your team?
Mm-hmm.
So how did she feel about these changes?
Oh, she gets a lot of satchel kills, so not good, because the satchel now does like 0.1 damage. Yeah, we've actually swapped her to Silver on a couple maps that we play because Raze is just not as viable anymore.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you already are like right away as soon as the patches come out, have to do changes instantly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now I have to ask you, unrelated to this patch notes, when the breach patch happened, how drastic was the change on your team?
Oh, it was immediate. I was immediately on breach. Because Sage got nerfed and that's who I was playing. So they're like, it's kind of obvious we got to put you on breach now. So that's what I've been doing since then.
I feel that's a kind of interesting. I want to talk about it just a little bit before we jump onto other patch notes. How like, can you imagine in CS if a gun was nerfed, that means you couldn't use the AK anymore, so you just like you had to learn a brand new thing like tomorrow?
Yeah, it's crazy.
then,
luckily, I had already like played all the Flash characters before. Like my role is like Flash characters and Sage. That was pretty much my job. So I had already played Breach, but now he was OP, so it was kind of good that I got to switch back to him.
So interesting. I think that's probably one of the team dynamic I love the most in Valorant is that like that combo of characters and figuring out who plays what better where on the map is so damn deep. Like, yes, it's about shooting, but we saw it in the Induction series in Valorant for women, the FTW event that you played in. You know, if it was just about shooting, then potentially CLG would have won the whole thing, right? It was
right.
It was way more than that. It was about the two teams actually put a little bit of effort into learning like the chemistry between the characters and that made you queens
of course.
That event.
Yeah.
Of course. Without any doubt. There's a couple of more things as well. They announced quality of life and map rotation change. Ooh. The map rotation changes. So you have a better chance of playing a map you haven't played recently. How many times did I play Ascent? 7 times in a row. I feel that I'm always playing Ascent. I hope that Jamerson froze like this.
He did.
Amazing. This is amazing. People at home, if you're listening to this in the podcast format, you cannot see, but Jamerson has the best smile in the world right now. I'm going to take a screenshot.
There's no way I froze again.
You're back.
No,
okay.
she didn't.
I don't know what's
going
on my internet.
I did.
Don't save the VODs. Delete the VODs.
So good. You were frozen in the best way. Oh my god, it was great. But yeah, having not 7 times in a row Ascent anymore is great quality of life, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this patch feels like it's really geared towards a lot of like the casual community with like the raise changes, like that nerf. It seems massive, and so it was unfun to play against for a lot of people, but also it was unfun for your teammates if you're getting blast packed around and damaged by that. So it just feels very casual this entire patch right now. I don't know if I completely agree with it. I do agree with the map changes, but it just kind of feels like, you know, it feels like Riot's going towards that casual community side a little bit too much, leaning into that a little bit too hard.
Wow, what do I think about that? I think that you're right, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm one person that always says you have to cater to the mass, and your mass sucks. Your mass is awful. But but it still needs to be viable for pros. But it has to be fun for your mass to suck in it. And I always say that Riot are the best at that, because everybody that I play or ever heard about League of Legends thinks they're the best League of Legends players. And they're always like, oh, I'm bronze or silver too. And they think they're fuck nuts. So you have to cater to these people and make them and pretend and make them feel like they're the best player in the world. So my guess is that, Jamerson, if you do get snatched up by your friend, you're mad at the game instead of being mad at yourself. And I think that's probably what is the worst. Being mad at the game instead of mad at yourself.
I just feel like, okay, if Raze does come back into like being competitive and like being able to play her really well, it just... It feels a little bit too like puggy. It just feels like, you know, you could just like run in and do whatever. Like your execution doesn't have to be as crisp or clean. That's kind of what I don't want to see. You know, it's kind of like that Overwatch effect where like you have no friendly fire whatsoever, right? And so it just becomes a little bit too cartoony, and like some of the executions just definitely don't look like it's supposed to be world class. It just feels like everyone's just going to go ahead and file down one lane and do whatever and spam all their abilities. That's what I worry about.
I wonder if they have a stats at Riot that says the amount of friendly fire damage Raze did in the last month, and they're like, it's more than the actual damage. we have to nerf this right now. I mean, it's possible that's how they looked at it. Okay.
Yep.
On more patch notes, but more on what we think should have been addressed or should be addressed soon. Alexis, are you sad you can't play Sage anymore?
No.
No? You're like,
I hate
Sage is
Sage.
stupid.
Sage sucks. I'm not playing Valorant when I'm playing Sage. I'm playing Heal My Teammate Simulator. I'm not playing Valorant. So I'm just the healer. It's annoying. I want to flash.
What about Jet? What do you think about Jet?
I don't know. It's really complicated, I feel like, because I see Valorant trying to add more counters to the Jet op, but not nerfing the Jet op. So I don't know. Unless there's like a really good counter. I know that they made the Breach stun. They made it counter ops in the sense that like you unscope and you're stunned if you're scoped in as an opper. But I think there needs to be more, to be honest.
I was thinking about something like that too. The problem for me when she jets op away is not necessarily that she can get away, is that if she gets away and she just repositions herself, you can't trade.
Exactly. Like it's untradeable.
She can still shoot again right away. So if she could if she could shoot, leave, and then not able to shoot, you know, like maybe she can't take out her weapon, or animation recovery after the dash is like really slow with the op, or you know, if it was something like that, so that she can get away, but at least if she doesn't get away far enough, or if she's not careful, if you rush her at that moment, she can't like double, triple, quadruple. I think that would be my biggest problem with it, is that even when you're together as a team, you can't trade it. It's like impossible unless you use abilities like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea, actually, what you said, like having some sort of like delay, like the animation, like how when you breach stun or you breach flash, there's like a second or two delay to take out your gun. Something like that would be pretty good with the dash.
Yeah, and I think that's the frustrating part for me. Getting away is like, okay, you can flush her out, you can do whatever, so it's fine. Like, let's say you flush her out, she gets away, but then she can just go again in that position and wait. So you wasted a flash and she can still kill you even though you did everything right. And I think that's what's frustrating to me, is that it should be, I use a flash, I flush her out. Now we did everything right. We have a chance to kill her if she doesn't hide, you know, or she doesn't play this well. What do you think, Jamerson? I never know if you're frozen or not right now, so that's why I'm like, is it time to drop the ball on you or whatnot?
Like my years of like broadcast where like you don't want to move around too much, you just show enough. It's kind of working against me today, right? No, I completely agree with you. And it's such a difficult spot to really try and nerf that. Just for the simple fact that, like, again, if you touch that one aspect because of the one gun that she's extremely OP on, it really just nerfs the rest of her kit, right? It's so difficult because like even like we use this one example of like the G2 MixWell, his how to counter Jet. I don't feel like it was honestly something that's as viable. Like you can't do that in your ranked matches. You know, you're not coordinating that well in your ranked matches where you're doing a set take. You got the right smokes down on site to cut off whatever angles, and then you approach with the recon drone doing all this stuff. It's not something that's viable in ranked. It is going to be something that we'd have to see, of course, teams really adapt to and try to flesh out once it comes to tournament play, but that's not a proper answer. In terms of like the things that you brought up, Harvey, though, I like the idea of having a longer pull-out animation, maybe even making sure that her tailwind is a shorter distance, like cutting it half if it's an operator. It's a heavier weapon. It goes to show that, you know, it should also affect her movement with it, right? So who knows? I think that's probably the best way to go about it, though. Like kind of cutting the distance on it, like cut it in half on the tailwind if she has that operator and she goes for that tailwind.
Yeah, I think those are also great ideas, and I also agree with Alex's comment where you kind of don't want to remove the jet operator combo because it's a very interesting one, but at the same time, right now, it's if you have a good jet, that's all you talk about in the pre-show, right? Where there's Jessikin or Claudia player or Wardell, like, or Mixwell, like it's you know, if they nail that jet down, there's not much you can do, and your whole strategy revolves about shutting that jet away, which is kind of silly. I'm actually gonna put the Twitter Mixel quote or video that you talked about in chat for those who are there, because I think it's a great video that. Oh, I got timed out because I posted a link. Okay, well, what do you know? It's one of those days.
Hammer.
It's one of those days. Okay, so you know what? Let's just switch to odd topics. Odd topics. Today's odd topics, Alexis, is gonna be about skins. We have to talk about Riot Skins, and the Ego bundle is currently $70, and that's without any upgrades. That's just to get like I think there might be, what I can see on this image is 3 weapons. So I don't know if it's a little bit more than that, but I do have spent so much money in skins already in Valorant, and I'm wondering if it's like, what is this tendency? What are we supposed to do with it as consumers? What do you guys think about $70 for a gun skin? That's not on the market because of rarity or whatever. That's just like the base price.
Yeah. It's not even like you can trade like in Counter-Strike. It's not even like you could make more money or something like that. There's nothing like that. That's so overpriced, I feel like. Especially because they drop new bundles. Like, I don't know how many days apart, but they drop so many new ones, and it's like they just want you to spend everything you have on skins.
I spent a lot of money.
Me too.
And I'm wondering if I'm not part of the problem. Should we all stop buying so that they drop the price?
It's hard to want to do that, right? When you just like, also they are good skins, I'll admit, but I don't know if they're worth $20 each or something. Does this come down to like maybe even something like Fortnite set? Because a lot of the skins that Fortnite were throwing out there were about $20, and I had no problem dropping it back then. And right now it's kind of the same issue. If you got this free-to-play model, you got these microtransactions, is it really worth to be able to buy to actually buy this? I'll say no, because like Alexis said, Counter-Strike had its market, right? You could just go ahead and put it in the Steam Marketplace, and there was like at least like a resale value on rarity, or sometimes you can, there was also gambling. There was a lot of other value that was equated with it, with that here in Valorant you don't have with it. So it seems odd that it's priced so high, but people are buying it. So can you honestly question Riot at that point?
I got trapped. Okay, let me tell you how I felt. I thought all the skins were ugly, so I didn't buy anything on launch day. And then they started giving us cute skins. So I was like, oh, this is the only cute skin in the game. Let me drop $50. And then they came out with a really cool one. So I'm like, oh, it's way cooler than the one I already dropped $50 on. Let me drop another $50 so I can like at least use this because it's much cooler. And then they came out with the dragon. And I was like, there's no way I'm not buying a dragon skin. And they're getting me every time like that. It's like, oh, it's way cooler than all of the other skins I already involved and bought. So I'm just going to buy this one. And the skin I have, I hate it, but I spent $20 on it. So I'm just going to buy this and upgrade because I've never used Vandal before. Also, I used the Vandal before, and I want the dragon skin, and I increase it to like the $70 like level of, because you buy the skins, but it's not over.
Mm-hmm. I think like one thing that's kind of interesting is a lot of League of Legends players talk about it when it comes to the skins. It's like, oh, this champion's getting a lot of skins next. When are the buffs going to come? right? And so
Ah,
is that something that we should kind of expect when it comes to the gunplay in this game? Is it something that we should be expecting? It's kind of scary when you really think about it, because the timing on a lot of the skin releases for League of Legends, it feels like it's way too good for it to be coincidental, a lot of times. So hopefully we'll see if there's like that kind of disconnect here for Valorant itself, where they don't do anything like that. But I mean, we are seeing a lot more Guardian skins, and they continue to buff it. Or like, is that something we have to worry about?
what's your favorite skin in the game?
Mine?
Both of you. Both of you. Yep.
Oh no, I don't know. I really like the Galaxy skins, but I also like, I don't have the Ego skins yet, then like the new ones, but like the pink upgrade for the Ego skins looks so cute, and I'm like so close to buying it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, the white and pink aesthetic is just way too good. But God, I already forgot the name of the skins. The one that dropped with Killjoy, that line, definitely my favorite.
That knife. Wait, is it that knife that was like that has like a laser color around the knife
Yeah.
and it changes? Yeah, I think for me that's the best skin in the game. I love it. I still don't understand when it changes colors. Whoever has it, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's yellow. You don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, fun segment, Alexis. Let's jump into a couple of live questions. Who do you think? Well, okay, Jamerson, should we say who are our two favorite teams in it, or the two top teams in it?
I think both. Why not
Okay.
both?
Let's go, Alexis.
Okay, NA, I really like watching Sentinels. I think they're really good. I would say they're my favorite team to watch right now, and I think that they're definitely a top team for sure.
Sentinels.
Yeah. Who else? Definitely TSM. Like, you have to put TSM up there, right? I think they're a little bit overrated. They have like a crazy fan base, but they definitely deserve a lot of the hype. EU, I'll say G2 just because they won the Blast tournament. Not many teams to pick from there because there's only 4 teams in that tournament. Yeah, I don't know about another EU team though, because I really haven't watched any other ones.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that TSM thing, but Alexis is so right. Across whatever games, TSM has their fan base. I will commend them because they are adamant and they love their teams and stuff like that. But like, if you've ever jumped onto the TSM subreddit, it really is kind of like a lifestyle. It is that Bay Life lifestyle, and they are just so gung ho. I think this is like one of those organizations, one of those teams. If you look at it, it's probably the closest, most akin to like real life sports, right? Like just actual sports in terms of like its fans.
Definitely. And it's crazy because I'll be watching a game, it could be like Sentinels versus Cloud9, and there's people in the chat yelling, "Let's go Wardell!" Like, there's TSM fans everywhere. It's crazy.
What do you guys think about FaZe? Isn't FaZe also kind of like that? Kind of like, we don't care what team, go FaZe.
Yeah, FaZe
like,
up.
Yeah, FaZe up. No matter where you are, you're part of the FaZe family. We love you.
I mean, that's
a little bit like that.
Really good branding, right? TSM and FaZe, like they came from like different backgrounds, right? One's like really COD oriented, one's of course coming from that League of Legends, and then bringing kind of maneuvering itself around the esports scene well. But yeah, it's another organization that did it really well. I think at this point though, like just I don't know, FaZe like had some really weird PR issues, especially with the whole Tfue thing in the last year and a half. So we'll see.
We'll see. Indeed. Okay. What's your favorite cheesy strategy, Alexis? So like, I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say you would be a Sova main. It could be like on Ascent B side with the Odin, just being Sinatra. So what's your favorite cheesy strategy that you do as a team, or even sometimes in pugs, you'll just like pop that out because you know you got to kill?
I'm trying to think, like anything okay, so on our team, when Jazzy, she plays Jet, if she has her ult, we'll Omen Flash her on Ascent into a main, and she'll dash updraft and just kill everyone with her ult. It's so OP. Like the Omen blind is already so good, and with Jazzy's ult combined, it's a free round.
It's funny how the Omen blind, when I played it in beta, I felt that it was kind of dumb, but as soon as you start using it in a teamwork environment and team play environment, it's quite the opposite. It flushes out such a big area where you can't dodge something, and it's just like a great addition to a first-person shooter. Like, there's nothing like that out there, I think. Quite good. So I like this little strategy. It's kind of funny, Jamerson. I don't remember if we'd ever talked about this ourselves. If you have a favorite cheesy strategy.
Favorite cheesy strategy, honestly, I was kind of in love with that Sova play on Ascent B, and but I think for a while before it got nerfed was the Haven boost over by Garage, right? Before they like added the extra elements where you can't see anymore. And so I like that a lot, just because I thought, like, I was doing it before, like, it got really popular. I was like, oh, I'm so smart, I figured this out, blah blah blah. And then I was like, oh wait, no, everyone knows this. And then it quickly got nerfed. That was one of my favorites for a while. Right now though, I don't really know if there's much others cheese coming out.
I would say mine is on, it's not cheesy really, but it's very simple to execute. It's also a jet though.
Of course.
It's on Heaven at A, at the main entrance. It's really just like, as soon as you have an angle and you're not spotted, then I just flash behind the box with Breach, and then Jet just like explodes and I clear left. And it's just like, it takes one flash and we take a site together. You know that? So it's kind of the same, but not really the same. It would probably be more effective with an Omen Flash, but I like it because usually people hide behind that bomb side box and they kind of just like play with, if you're Cypher, you play with your traps and whatnot, but we just throw that flash before the traps and hit, and then we just get in, and feels really really good to be that player. Okay. We're going to give you 2 skins and you're going to tell me which one is your favorite. Between the Elder Flame Dragon Vandal, any color, you pick any color, or the Prime Vandal.
I will say the Dragon Vandal is cooler, but the animation is way too loud that I hate using it. So I'll say the Prime Vandal, definitely.
There's a lot of Twitter talks apparently how the Vandal might be hitting different when you shoot with it. Do you think that's true, or do you think that's just an illusion?
I'm going to embarrass Mel really quick, because we will play, and if someone has the Prime Vandal or the Dragon Vandal, she will make us drop it to her, or she will complain. She's like, you need to drop me your gun right now, or I'm not going to be able to shoot straight this round. And we all make fun of her.
Because she wants that one?
Yeah, because she wants it.
I do feel when I shoot with, I don't know about you, Jamerson, I feel when I shoot with either or, I feel better.
No, that's
environment.
I come from like 2 games that like where the skins actually really matter for this for the guns. So I don't know exactly where I landed the camp for Valorant, but in Overwatch and in Apex Legends, the skins did matter, right? You had different kind of iron sights depending upon the skin, or the model was just smaller, right? If you take a look at like McCree from Overwatch, there were some models where like his gun took up half the screen, and then other models where it was like a quarter of the screen. And so there might just be that effect as well. Like maybe you do see more, and so you feel like you're more inclined to play better with a specific gun. But I completely agree with Alexis. While I think the dragon skins, I thought, when they first announced it, that's dope as hell, right? And I started playing with them, and they're loud as hell, and it's so annoying. And it just kind of pulls you out of the gameplay sometimes because it's so loud.
Yeah, I would like to agree with that. I think that one example of that might be also like, it's not a gun, but in Breach, because Alexis, you played a lot of Breach recently. When you do the fault line and you at the beginning of the round, sometimes you can't hear the footsteps, And like, this is me playing Breach at the beginning of the round. Like, I'm trying to create my fault line, or I'm trying to like wait for the fault line. I'm like
it
listening.
Is pretty loud, yeah.
And it's so loud. I wish I would just like turn that down a little bit because I can't hear the footsteps. And I feel that in Valorant, it's so crucial to hear anything, and it's pretty hard to hear anything as well. So, totally agree with that Vandal skin, the dragon one. I feel like it might be a little bit the same, even when you shoot it, right? It was like,
spot on.
What, Alexis? Can you give me a little bit of a prime noise?
No. I can't.
Jamerson, someone?
I'm not even gonna try, but I commend you for doing it. If all else fails, you can get into like sound directing and stuff.
The prime noise is something. No, wait. No, I don't know. Okay, scratch that. Let's move on. Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. Can you let us know what's coming up next for you? Where we can follow you? Do you stream? Like, let us know all the details.
Yeah, so if you want to follow my team, we're at Team MAJKL. You'll be seeing some announcements from us very soon. If you want to follow me, my Twitter is AlexisMarieNY. It's on the screen. And my Twitch is just Lexi CSGO.
And do you stream often?
My schedule is a little sporadic, but yeah, pretty often.
Okay. Sounds great. What about you, Jamerson?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, we really did want to find out what's going to be happening with MAJKL, especially with your guys' performance. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that.
I'm excited for that announcement. Not gonna lie, it might be refreshing until you guys announce it. Like, I'm gonna have a Twitter page of just the MAJKL Twitter, and I'm gonna wait. It's gonna be there for the next 2 weeks. So you better not. It better be soon. I don't want to wait 2 weeks.
It's soon.
Oh, okay, that's great. Jamerson, anything coming up for you outside of this beautiful podcast in 2 weeks?
Right now, no. Just doing my usual, freelance stuff. We're trying to over here at Wisdom, we're working out something for the collegiate scene, and so that's really what I'm looking forward to at this point, because I grew up on the collegiate scene for both Overwatch and Counter-Strike and stuff like that. So hopefully we can get that going, and so really looking forward to that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too. Let me know when it happens. Let us know when it happens. I'll be excited to follow up. On my side, I'm producing a Smash tournament this weekend, so pretty excited. This is the first time I do anything Smash related. I'm getting a little bit of experience left and right. Did some chest producing 2 weeks ago. Been pretty decent on Valorant producing, but now we're doing Smash Melee. So excited for it. And yeah, thank you so much. You two, me as well. So us three. Jamerson, I hope your internet issues get fixed. It just happened today.
I don't know. It's the first time, right? Like we've basically been in lockdown for like 8-9 months. I mean, we've been working from home. All of us have, and this is the first time I've actually had internet issues. So even though it sucks that it happened now, at least it's only happened the one time for me. So I can't really complain.
Yes, and your setup looks beautiful, so we forgive you. We forgive you, and your smile freeze was spectacular. Thank you so much, guys. Follow us on this Twitch channel, GiantSlayerTV. Every 2 weeks, we are coming back with a Running It Back Valorant podcast. This week, we want to thank Alexis for being so sweet and joining us on the show. This was Jamerson This was Jamerson and I. On the behalf of everyone, we wish you a good end of week, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.